Welcome to Zen Federal's Federal Project Management Series. Today's topic is federal performance. Your learning objectives for this module cover policy. We'll talk about two important modules, the OMB Circular A11 and the Capital Programming Guide. I actually record other modules specific to these topics, so we'll touch on the governance, the policy, and the laws. But for a more in-depth perspective on policy items, please do check out my other modules. We'll introduce the concept of performance metrics. We'll talk about the IT dashboard, what that is and what those metrics are. We'll talk about the metrics that you use for reporting performance, such as in a business case or program management documents. We'll introduce the performance management categories that you will use for the processes that are appropriate to reporting performance. I'll give you some business case detail examples that have been used over the years and are still relevant since the laws are still applicable, even though they may look slightly different on future business cases from the time that this module was recorded. And I'll talk to you about the Performance Improvement Council and what that is. My name is Janelle Moore. I will be your course instructor. I am the CEO of Zen Federal, which used to be a larger company, but in 2019, I completed an M&A and I sold off most of my company assets, as well as a nonprofit that I had developed and run, a wonderful organization called the Federal CPIC Forum, which specialized in policy, portfolio management, as well as CPIC, which is capital planning and investment control. I retired from that after 13 years of running it as an executive director. I also have about 25 years of experience in lifecycle solutions, management consulting, professional services, all to the federal government. The federal government contracting work has predominantly been my career. I have 3 masters, one in Chief Information Officer Studies from National Defense University. I also have a master's in Information Assurance, which is now more frequently called cybersecurity. And my master's of science in Information Management is from Syracuse University. My bachelor's is in Philosophy and Business Administration from East Carolina University. Go Pirates! And I also have certifications, the CJIT, which is Certified in Governance Enterprise IT, Capital Planning Professional Instructor, and Governance Risk Compliance IT Certified. So that body of all those degrees and all those certifications exceed the highest standards of government requirements for certain types of acquisition, program management, and capital planning types of work. There are 2 certifications that are most frequently used for the government. One is the Federal Acquisition Certification, and the other is the Defense Authorization Workforce Improvement Act Certification. So that's the FAC or the DAWIA. They have 3 levels of those certifications, level 1, level 2, and level 3. The other very common certification is the Project Management Professional from the Project Management Institute, which is really only like a level 1 of the federal PM requirements that are within the scope of the FAC or the DAWIA certifications. The PMP, or the PMBOK rather, that Project Management Body of Knowledge, is actually a subset of the studies of my Master's of Science in Information Management and my NDU courses. So technically, I have way more experience than a senior PMP or a FAC or DAWIA professional. So that means that I am robustly qualified to teach you this content, to distill it down into the appropriate meaty bits, and for you to have some really relevant takeaways for your continuing professional education in this area. In terms of business cases and budget proposals for the government, I've done congressional business, congressional budget justifications, CBJs. I've worked on the president's budget requests. I've worked on financial passbacks, where the Office of Management and Budget, as part of the Executive Office of the President of the United States, sends those budget requests back for more management information or artifacts. I have not only developed those artifacts for clients, but I have taught different agencies and departments how to do those artifacts in facilitated sessions and workshops and trainings. I have done the tactical work in terms of delivery for clients. I have done the front end requirements and assisted with source selection. I have worked as an intermediary in public and private partnership discussions. So everything having to do with capital planning and governance and the business cases and how that flows up through the executive and legislative branches and back down through the C-suite of the IT shops, the CXOs, the CFOs, the CIOs, and into those program level and project level teams. I've done it in both ways, both directions. So I can talk to it and I can also do it. And that makes me more popular as an instructor of this content, because it's one thing to talk the talk, but it's another thing to actually get into the agencies and to the programs and the directorates and show folks how to do this work and to do it right. So hopefully that information will be useful and will give you context for making sure that you have someone telling you how to do this that knows how to do it themselves. From a policy perspective, there are a number of legislative drivers and enablers that govern how we implement policy and how we measure performance for specific types of capital asset investments. With regard to IT, several policies apply that stem from the Clinger-Cohen Act of 1996, the Chief Financial Officers Act, GPRA, or Government Performance and Results Act, FASA, or Federal Acquisition Streamlining Act, Paperwork Reduction Act, and the GAO Executive Guide. Specifically for IT investments, we have to be able to demonstrate business results. So those agency heads are tasked with the ability to report those IT performance measurements from planning through the life cycle of IT investments. And we have to be able to demonstrate how well IT supports agency programs. Some additional policies that we have to comply with include those derived from OMB's Performance Measurement Challenges and Strategies, publication of 2003, the OMB memo regarding CIO authorities from 2011, the circular A11, which has recently been updated as new as 2021, and the Capital Programming Guide, which is a supplement to the A11 that was updated in 2020 and I believe is being republished as an update in 2021. Specifically, it's important to note that performance measurement is important to agencies because it helps us determine the value of investments in IT or capital assets by quantifying performance and customer satisfaction. It's important to understand what the OMB circular number A11 is. And the A11 is the budget guidance for any given year for a federal government budget and the investments within it. So in the 45 administration that wrapped up right before the Biden-Harris administration came into office, they had removed the entire Part 6 from the circular. The Federal Performance Framework for Improving Program and Service Delivery was designed to address an array of federal management topics and statutes, specifically in the realm of performance management. And despite being law, the prior administration removed it. As of April of 2021, the Biden-Harris administration, as one of their first acts, immediately reintroduced it. So it's important that anyone taking this module understands that if you're doing anything in a government program, whether it's IT or another type of capital asset, performance is mandatory. Reporting performance is mandatory. Achieving performance is mandatory. So agencies are responsible for continuing to meet these related statutory requirements. And the Biden-Harris administration just put it back in the A11 as of April of 2021. So if you are in an agency and you're doing some sort of business case or program-related documents and someone says, oh, we don't need to do the performance piece anymore, the last administration removed it, well, update, no, it's back in because it's the law of the land and it should have never been removed. So it's not necessary when you're understanding performance to know everything there is about the Circular A11 because it covers a lot of topics. But for the purpose of discussing performance, the basic justification for federal programs to get funds centers around the ability to close some kind of performance gap, deliver something mission essential, mission critical, or mission supporting, to manage risk, to stay close to the original requirements for cost and schedule management purposes, and to address performance. So within the OMB Circular A11, Sections 51 and 55 are highly applicable. And Section 51 has been, for the last several years, the basic justification materials section. So each administration emphasizes or de-emphasizes this based on what their priorities are. And for the Biden-Harris administration, moving forward from 2021, we're going to be looking at evidence-based performance through these major policies. So there will be evaluations of programs. There will be business case justifications. There will be established performance indicators and performance goals. There will be ties to relevant data analytics and research. There will be a proposal process that continues through the budget years and the out years that shows the relationship between budget, performance, well-performing business cases, well-performing programs will get investment funding, will get investment plus-ups for the new infrastructure initiatives. Poorer performing situations are very likely to be closed out, merged into other things that are compatible with the federal government's enterprise architecture, maybe ended. So it's important to understand that if you have the opportunity to show exceptional performance in line with how A11 and related policy dictates, you're probably going to keep getting funding and keep doing well. But if you're high risk and you're poorly performing, you're more likely to experience things like oversight audits, deep dives, portfolio stats, tech stats, or some version thereof, poor federal IT Acquisition Reform Act FTARA scores. You're going to see more intensive like audits and evaluations like from GAO. So A11 really sort of defines the groundwork for how you establish that performance baseline, how you manage to it, and what the risk or reward is, depending on the consequences of what is or is not done. And there are different submissions that take place, different reform plans, different memos that come out that discuss how to address performance with a specific administration. So understanding the groundwork and the basis for it can take you forward and build a pathway for reporting and ensuring that you're representing the successes of your organization because you want to make sure that what you're doing continues to be funded. Here, I'd like to show you a list of some of the other offerings we have created and made available to you through Zen Federal and FitSourcing. We also have more modules coming out a couple of months, so please feel free to check back and please feel free to recommend us so that others can help get their training up to date and can compete for these jobs. So if you are in the market for a career change and you're looking to take these modules so that you can apply for jobs in the areas of IT capital planning or governance, you're welcome to book an online session with me through zenfederal.com. There's a little button you can push to pre-arrange an appointment for an hour or two of my time to kind of help coach you and take a look at your resume and help you start working towards the goal of applying for jobs in this field. You're welcome to send your current resume to our FitSourcing team. The email is recruiting@fitsourcing.org. It would be helpful for the team to know any references that you have, a cover letter if you want to attach it, your eligibility for clearance or any current clearances that you hold, and any salary details about where you are right now with your salary and where you'd like to be. You're welcome to follow me on LinkedIn. You can find me through a search for Zen Federal, and I encourage you to keep all of your training certificates of completion, not just for your continuing professional education purposes, but to show recruiters that you are proactively learning this content right now. I can tell you that we just, on the day of this recording, we're presenting 3 resumes for a CPIC specialist position through Fit Sourcing. And the one resume that got kicked back was the one that didn't have current training that they were taking either through Zen Federal or Fit Sourcing or a program like it to show current training in the field. So it's definitely working. This model is working to get folks interviews for these jobs and to get them considered for junior and mid-level analyst positions based on other career and work experience. Thank you so much for taking the time to take one of our training modules. In the Zen Federal team and I want to thank you for taking our courses and for making it possible by buying these courses and taking them. We are reinvesting the funds that are taken from this training to create more modules and more FEDucational. I encourage you to reach out to me. If you like what you have seen, please give us a favorable review. Please share. Please recommend this to others. If there's something you'd like to see more of or something that I or we could do better, please use the contact information to reach out to me. I welcome constructive criticism. It's how I personally approve and how I apply myself. We have a lot more modules that are available, and we have the availability to also provide the management consulting and professional advisory services one-on-one or to companies or to agencies. And we can also do in-person training, instructor-led training, classroom-based training. We have other services, and I look forward to hearing from you and trying to find a way that we can work together in the future. Thank you for your time.